If people are having a hard time relating with like a collector mentality, like I would argue that everyone collects something, even like intangible things like collecting friendships or people in their lives. For everyone, there's that one thing that they just have a lot more energy and enthusiasm to, and collectors are just taking it to assembling them in a place where they can almost see them and engage with them every single day. My name's Tyler Blake. Right now, we're sitting in my living room in Providence, Rhode Island at my house. Passion for collecting, I think, it was just like a series of leveling up in my life. When I was 5 years old, 1998, that's when the first Pokemon game came out in North America. So with that came the trading card frenzy and got used to limited edition and that sort of thing and collecting, and it just kind of stayed with me. Up to the point when I was in high school, and I met a friend that was collecting sneakers at the time, and I remember going to his house and he had like an MTV Crib style like walk-in closet with a gigantic shoe wall like of 100 pairs just all laid out. The other thing that was interesting was each shoe to him had a story behind it, which really got me like roped in and hooked, right? Because with Pokemon cards, like I was kind of making my own story with them, and here were these sneakers that were like intentionally made for storytelling. And at the time I went to a school with a dress code, but I could wear whatever shoes I wanted. So some of my earliest paychecks, I was like going to the mall and grabbing like a pair of Jordans or something like that. From there, you know, the sneaker hobby became sort of a business for me, and I remember it came time to move and I had like 100 pair of shoes and I cashed them all out. And the first thing I thought about buying with it was a watch. For similar reasons. There's a lot of cool stories with watches, but yeah, some of them held their value and some of them are even worth more than what I paid after wearing them. And that was like one of my first purchases, was a watch once I got rid of all the shoes. Not all of them, most of them. The first watch I bought was Audemars Royal Oak, and it had the diver strap with the exposed back so you could see all the movement inside of it. Going back to like perception's reality, I was like, damn, this is cool, and I want one. You know, the first Rolex I got was the Submariner. The two-tone green on it was just so cool to me. And I remember like getting it for the first time with like the sticker still on it. Like those people with New Era hats that don't take the sticker off, I was like, I'm just gonna wear it with the stickers on until it falls off. Like I don't care how dumb it looks, like whatever. It just became symbolic of putting myself through school and getting done with all my student loans, and kind of you know, look, like I can, you know, my family may not be independently wealthy, but like I can start my own legacy for myself. And I imagine myself like having children, being able to hand that down, and also like the sentiment behind it. So that's a very special watch for me. It's something that I know I'll never sell. The GMT, I had a friend that was working for Morgan Stanley. He did all of their back-end server stuff to make them execute trades, and he was all about Bitcoin. He was like, you need to buy Bitcoin. And it was like $600, and I was like, rather than rolling dice, like I'm just gonna buy 4 Bitcoin, like just whatever, we'll do it. Obviously a lot of people know it went like crazy up and then spiraled down, and when it was at its up, I was like, once you're up, like you take your money out, you know, now it's house money. And I took my Bitcoin house money and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna buy a watch. Rolex is not a cryptocurrency. It's not gonna be very volatile, going up and down. And at the very least, I'll have something from this if it goes really down. And it went super down. So I at least survived this with one thing. At the end of the day, it's just something that tells time. You know, the function's there. You know, this isn't solid gold. It's not necessarily worth what people pay, but especially with a brand like Rolex or some of the other more prestigious brand companies, it's really setting that level of prestige and saying this is why it's worth that much more. The silver lining with watches is these companies have been around for so long and they've taken such good care with their brands that even if you're a pessimist saying, oh, it's just a watch, it tells time, it's like, well, listen, like at the end of the day when I'm done with my Yachtmaster or whatever it is, someone else is going to want it, and it in fact might be worth more than what I paid. And I think that's the mentality I've taken with everything I've purchased. Okay, you know, I am making a big purchase, but I'm really, really doing my due diligence on it to make sure that I'm not just frivolously spending money. And I think that's something that's paid off both with sneakers, with clothing, with watches and art, and it's allowed me to have a lot of different nice things and a lot of appreciation for them without necessarily breaking the bank.